If you're new to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon to get notifications of all my uploads throughout the week. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I'm going to create an art journal page using a couple of IndigoBlu products. Now, first thing I have here is a sheet of IndigoBlu watercolour cardstock, which is A4, but I've cut it down to 8 inches by 8 inches because that's the size of my art journal. This is hot pressed, so it's very, very smooth and great for stamping on. I've also got some, you may just see it poking in here, some rice paper, some IndigoBlu rice paper. So it says fabulous for watercolour, stamping and printing. Pack of 10 sheets, A3 size, which is great. I've just got a fragment because I've torn a sheet of the A3 in half because I don't want to use all of it. I've got a quick paintbrush and I have some IndigoBlu matte Slap It On, which is a brilliant matte medium. So I'm going to drop some of this, let's see if there's any left in the bottle. There we go. Onto my art journal page. I use this quite regularly, so it wouldn't surprise me if I'd actually run out and not realised it. And I've added some just about halfway up to the page, and then I'm going to take my rice paper and just gently scrunch it up onto the page to give me some texture, and then I'm just going to use the brush and scrunch it down onto the page to give me a little bit of texture on that page there. Add a little bit more of the matte medium just so I can get it to go all the way through. That gives me some nice kind of texture effects, almost like a faux leather on the page, but not quite. And make sure I've got it all at the bottom. Brilliant. That's just perfect. That's just what I want. So I'm going to grab my heat gun, give it a quick blast, and then I'll come back again when all this is dry. So now all that tissue rice paper is all dry, I'm just going to turn the page over, grab my scissors, and I'm just going to trim off the excess. But I'm not going to throw it away because a great tissue, well, the rice paper is brilliant for adding texture onto your pages, so that few little bits of offcuts will come in handy for other projects. So they will go in my scrap box, because waste not, want not, and all that. I'm not going particularly pristine and spot on with the cutting. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit scrappy around the edges. Just all adds to the art journal aesthetic. A little bit off there. That'll do. Cool. So there we go, that's better. So I'm going to add a little bit of colour to this with a little bit of a colour wash. To do that, I'm going to add in some of this lime marmalade, which is really nice, kind of light green. So I'll grab my, well, I need a clean brush for a start, so I'll go and give this a quick wash. I'll grab some water and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my water, I've got my clean brush, and I've got my lime marmalade. Lime marmalade. I'm getting my teeth in properly today. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that paint, I'm not going to need a lot, and a dab of water. And then I'm just going to add some of that colour just across the base of the art journal page. probably hear Mr. Bentley running around behind me. So just nice and light. And then I'm just going to quickly give the brush a rinse. And then I'm going to take some hot cocoa, which is nice brown, and add some of that on there too. And again, a little bit of water, and this time just a little bit down towards the bottom. A bit darker, and then add a little bit of brown down there at the bottom. Just to kind of build up a nice kind of earthy tone moving into that green. Perfect. I'll just give that brush a quick rinse off. And then, let me see, I need some blue. So I have Coastal Walk. That's better, see if I can keep it in focus. So I'll take a little bit of that blue paint, and again, add a little bit just onto the craft mat. And then grab a little bit of water, add a little bit of water to it. I'm just going to turn it round. And then I'm just going to do a colour wash of that blue all the way down towards that green. And I'm not going completely mad with covering all of it, because leaving some white in there just gives you that kind of hint of clouds. And a little bit of blue there where that matte medium's gone on, so it's not covered quite as fully, but we can always go and just add a little bit more. Take a little bit more just to darken it up towards the top, and then blend it in with a little bit of water. And then if you want to, excuse the sound of my phone, grab a little bit more of that green, and then you can just add a little bit more just to blend it a tad more. There we go. That will do for that. I can put those paints away now because I'm notorious for putting my elbow in things or knocking them over. So out of harm's way, I'll grab my heat gun, I'll give this a blast, get it all nice and dry, have this cleared up, and then I'll join you when everything's neat, tidy and dry. Okay, so page is now dry. I've just grabbed some IndigoBlu white gesso, the G So Good, and I've just shaken the tub a little bit because I want to put some just on the upside of the lid. I have a piece of bath sponge. I'm just going to load up the bath sponge on the craft mat, and I'm just going to gently just start adding in a little bit of white just to kind of give a hint of clouds in the background. It does help as well to get rid of that little mark that we didn't want there earlier on. And just gives us a little bit of an idea, a suggestion if you like, of clouds on the horizon. Just helps to break it up a little bit, make it look a little bit more authentic. That'll do. So we can pop that away, and then we'll just give that a quick blast. So all nice and dry, so my clouds are now there. And I've also now got one of the new collector's edition stamps from IndigoBlu. This is number 15, and it's the Dorking Hen. Very, very cute indeed. So what I'm going to do is I've got my Tim Holtz stamp press, and I'm going to just add the stamp press. This is an 8-inch sheet, so we'll fit in the larger one, not the travel sized one. This is the larger one. I don't particularly want it to move too much, but I will be concentrating more probably down here than I will be anywhere else, so I can manoeuvre my magnets for best effect. So I think I'm going to be putting the first one of my little chickens just about there. So I'll just drop that down, turn the stamp press around, grab my ink. I could also remove the lid, the actual stamp press lid, if I wanted to. And then I can drop that down, a bit of a push, and then I've got my first chicken exactly where I want it. So I'm just going to grab a piece of tissue, because I don't want any secondary stamping. So I'm just going to remove any excess ink just on that kitchen roll, and then I'm going to put the next chicken, let's just put him there, or her there, sorry, chicken, because we've got the position that we want. Ink up, and then again, just before we go mad, just take off the excess. That's just about it. And then I can position my third about so. Get that inked up as well. Down with the chicken, poor chicken. Haha, excellent stuff. Okay. And then put that to one side. I'm going to give that a quick blast just to get it all nice and dry, and then I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm also going to use the number 3 collector's edition, which is the cross hatching, which I think is going to look quite good down here at the bottom to give us a little bit of texture just across the bottom. Now I'm not going to use a stamp block. I could do, but I don't want too much of a square impression. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up a little bit of, I'm using potting soil, archival ink, but you could use coffee, you could use any of the brown colours. I'm just going to add in, randomly twisting round, just to add in a bit of extra texture, using that crosshatch stamp just in that background. just to break it up. There we go. Happy with that. So I can put that back away along with Mrs. Hen. And again, I want to make sure that my ink is dry before I move on. So I'll just give it a quick blast. Okay, everything is just about dry now. I want to add a little bit of a dark edge to the art journal page. So to do that, I'm just going to use my vintage photo distress ink and an ink blending foam. Now I'm not going to go completely mad. I just want to add a little bit of a border all the way around. Just helps to kind of bring it all together and finish it. Now I will be adding a little bit of journaling, since it's an art journal page, once I've just added this in. With those little bits of foam that always spring off. There we go. Just give it a little bit, almost like an old vintage farmhouse feel. Haha. We go a little bit darker towards the bottom. I could actually just rub the ink over the top just to highlight some of that texture from that rice paper. And I think that's going to be it. Of course, it's a water-based ink, so we'll need to dry, because otherwise you may smudge. So I'm just going to give mine a quick go over with my heat gun just to make sure it's dry before I move on with the next step. And I also will clean my craft mat as well, because I don't want to be getting any of this ink smudged anywhere. So I'm going to add my journaling to my art journal page now, but if you're like me and your handwriting isn't perfect, or you're not very happy with your own handwriting and you not like to do hand lettering, then you can use something like this. There's no rules to say that you can't, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I need to print out some words to go onto my art journal page. I've already made a start. I need to do another 2. So here's my second. I'll get all the others done and then I'll be right back. So I've already stuck down the ones underneath. I've peeled the back off because this label maker obviously is self-adhesive. Wouldn't be much of a label if it wasn't. So I'm just going to stick this one down, and again, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. You don't have to get your set square and ruler out to make sure that it's totally and utterly perpendicular or parallel to the edges. It's an art journal page. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It's a personal thing. You're not going to be giving this away to anybody. So we've got hear no evil, see no evil, and of course we have the last one, which is cluck. Of course. What else could it have been? So, quick tidy up. Throw those bits of label away. And then I'm going to grab a Pigment Micron number 5 pen, and I'm just going to add some doodling around the word blocks. And just whip that round. I love art journal pages that have got a little bit of humour to them. It's supposed to be a fun process, so it doesn't always have to be serious, and you can have fun and play about too. And then I can add a little bit of a border, doodle border, just to tie everything in around the edges. Here we go, one art journal page. So all I'm going to do now is just quickly sign it and date it, and I'm going to call this page done. Almost, but not quite, because of course these are Dorking Hens. So from what I can remember, a Dorking Hen has, let's see if we can find, maybe not quite so dark red. There we go. Let's see what we've got. Should get myself one of those proper tins one of these days. So I've got barn door, which is absolutely perfect. So instead of using the brush tip, I'm going to use the felt tip end, and I'm just going to colour in I can't remember what they call the top part of a chicken. Is it the crown? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. And then just to add a little bit of colour in there, I'm going to go and grab walnut stain, and then just to add a little bit of brown just around. I think the Dorking Hens have, let's just swap a little bit there to frayed burlap. Brown, grey and white around their necks, I think, if my memory serves. Just a hint of colour. That'll do. Now I'm going to call this page done. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.